So you're new to Genshin, you do a 10 pull on the most recent weapon banner that just came out like an hour ago, and you get 4-star Lion Roar. Now, while Lion Roar is not the best weapon for any particular character, it can still be useful. So that's why I wanted to make a video on it. It's not the best, it's not anybody's best, but it can be good, especially if you don't have a better weapon for certain characters. So first we're going to read the actual passive and look at the weapon itself. So it does get up attack percent. Now its passive is the Bane of Fire and Thunder, and it increases damage against enemies affected by Pyro or Electro. This is R3, so it's by 28%. R1 is 20%. So who can this weapon be good on? Well, the easiest answer is Electro and Pyro characters, but certain Electro characters and certain Pyro characters can take more use or take advantage of this weapon more often than others. So because this weapon specifically says enemies affected by Electro, you can get away with using it on Hydro characters as well because of Electro Charge. Because Electro Charge allows for Hydro and Electro to exist at the same time, you can make use of this passive. So putting it on somebody like Xingqiu for damaging Xingqiu, on-field damage Xingqiu, can be really, really good. Because you can have Electro Charge on enemies to where they are still affected by Electro, even though he is hitting them constantly with Hydro, you will still be able to proc the passive of this weapon. Next is going to be somebody like Kuki Shinobu, specifically DPS Kuki. Now, while DPS Kuki is nowhere near her best build, this can be good for her if you want to run a damage Kuki. Because of her skill pulsing every 1.5 seconds, it is going to have the enemy hit with Electro a lot, meaning that she can proc this passive very consistently and regularly. Again, I'm not saying that this is the best weapon on any of these characters. I'm just saying that if you have Lion's Roar and you don't necessarily have a better weapon, here are some characters that can use it. Now, after Kuki, we're going to look at Benny. So Benny specifically, or especially is a better word there, especially C6 Benny can use this weapon. Because C6 is going to infuse his normal attacks with Pyro, if you have main on-field damage Benny with C6, he is going to be able to keep the enemies affected by Pyro a lot. So this can be a decent weapon for him if you want to run him on field with C6. Yes, I have my Benny C6'd, and I have not regretted it. If you wonder why C6 Benny is said to be bad, drop a comment. Maybe I'll make a video on it. Next is going to be Kazuha. Now, again, not his best weapon, nowhere near his best weapon, but if you're using Kazuha on field for damaging, this can be good because you can partner Kazuha with Pyro characters or Electro characters, so that way he can swirl the Pyro or Electro and keep enemies afflicted by it. I would not use those two together. I would not cause overloaded reactions because then nobody's going to be afflicted by any element. But if you have Kazuha with Pyro characters or with Electric characters, he can make use out of this weapon if he is on field doing damage. Next is going to be somebody like Ayato. Now, Ayato can make use of this the same way Xingqiu can, with Electro Charge, specifically Electro Charge. Yes, with Vaporize as well, but Electro Charge is going to be a little bit easier to keep the enemy affected by that element. So if you are using Ayato Electro Charge and you don't really have a better weapon for him, Lion's Roar can be pretty good. And we're going to finish this off with Keqing. Now, certs, if you put in the comments that I do not have Keqing, I will throw you. So, Keqing's skill allows her weapon to be infused with Electro. So she'll be able to keep that Electro on the enemies a lot, meaning she will be able to consistently proc the passive. Even if you're running her in a Quicken team where you're going to be having Dendro and Electro, she can still proc this passive very, very well. Now, Keqing is another character where if you are running like Thunder Soother on her, like 4-piece Thunder Soother, she can proc the both. She will get the effects will stack. She'll be able to get the effect from Lion's Roar and the effect from Thunder Soother. So that's another option for Keqing. And until I had Mist Splitter, I was either going to run Black Sword or Lion's Roar on Keqing. So this can very much be a viable option for her. That is going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, you be sure to leave it in the comments. Myself or somebody else be sure to answer it, and I will see you in the next one.